Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into an absolute, massive biological mystery. We're going to explore a recent discovery that completely upends everything we thought we knew about power and control in one of nature's strangest societies, the naked mole rat. To really get why this discovery is so wild, just think about their biological resume for a second. These subterranean rodents live an absolute sci-fi existence. I mean, they spend their entire lives underground, they're completely blind, they're practically immune to certain kinds of pain, they can survive for incredibly long periods without oxygen, they rarely get cancer, and they live past 30 years. That is literally decades longer than other rodents their size. They are true biological marvels. But here's what makes them truly unique. They're what biologists call eusocial. Now, you usually hear that word thrown around with insects, right? Like ants or bees. But out of a massive mammalian colony that can hold well over 100 animals, only one single female, the queen, gets to breed. Everyone else, they just serve her. It is an unbelievably strict, rigid hierarchy. Section 1. The Queen's Control. A logistical mystery. So how exactly does one female stop hundreds of potential rivals from breeding when it's pitch dark? For the longest time, researchers just assumed it was physical bullying, literally beating everyone else into submission. But unless she's lacing up tiny boxing gloves, that's pretty tough to pull off. Well, a team out of Berlin discovered it's actually way more sophisticated. It's an advanced program of mind control, done entirely through scent. The reason that old bullying idea kind of falls apart comes down to one single number: 3 kilometers. Physical violence is just highly impractical when a single colony's tunnel kingdom stretches that far. The queen simply can't be everywhere at once to physically bully over 100 subordinates. She needs a much, much more efficient mechanism of control. Section 2. Running on smell. An invisible mechanism. To rule this massive, lightless empire, naked mole rats rely heavily on their noses. Since they're totally blind, their sense of smell is basically a superpower. They boast around 1,200 olfactory receptor genes. To put that into perspective, they vastly outperform mice, which have roughly 1,000, and they absolutely crush us humans. We only have a measly 300 or so. Their noses are essentially these highly tuned chemical receivers. Through some really rigorous testing, scientists figured out that every single colony has its own distinct chemical signature. When 2 mole rats bump into each other in the dark, it takes them a mere 40 seconds of sniffing to decode that signature and decide, okay, is this a familiar nestmate or a stranger I need to attack? Neurobiologist Gary Lewin points out something fascinating here. He notes that naked mole rats attack strangers with lethal intent. But when the research team chemically disabled their sense of smell, it instantly made these highly aggressive, xenophobic creatures completely peaceful with each other. It really proves just how entirely scent dictates their behavior. Section 3. The royal scent, mind control molecule. If smell controls their navigation and warfare, what exactly is the queen using to control her subjects? Well, by meticulously analyzing the odor bouquets of individual mole rats, scientists found one very specific molecule, an ester called isopropyl myristate. The breeding queens secrete this chemical from their genitals, smearing it throughout the tunnels as they roam around. And what's incredible is that they found this molecule absolutely nowhere else. It's only on the breeding queens. And here is where the mind control actually takes shape. Functional ultrasound imaging showed that even just a puff of this molecule lights up the subordinate's olfactory cortex. When this royal scent is present, a hormone called prolactin, which suppresses fertility, stays artificially high, while active breeding progesterone drops. The scent is literally reaching into the brains of the subordinates and chemically turning off the reproductive systems. Now, the queen's output of this compound peaks when she's in heat or pregnant. But how does she manage a 3-kilometer empire? It's all about chemical stability. Isopropyl myristate is remarkably stable once it's smeared on a surface. It stays detectable for roughly 24 hours. Because the scent just sticks around, the queen doesn't have to endlessly patrol every single corner of her vast underground kingdom. She just leaves her chemical signature behind to do the work. Section 4. Game of Thrones preventing succession. Researchers really needed to know if this scent alone could enforce the hierarchy, especially against high-ranking females who desperately want the throne. Normally, if you remove a queen, it triggers a violent, lethal mole rat version of Game of Thrones. So they ran a simple experiment. Step 1, remove the queen. Step 2, apply the isolated royal scent daily for 3 months. Step 3. Sit back and observe for a succession more. The result? Absolutely zero coups d'états, zero fights to the death, zero pregnancies. Gary Lewin called it a super contraceptive, keeping them all sexually repressed. Even without her physical presence, her chemical ghost ruled the kingdom perfectly. Section 5. A human connection. The mammalian tree. Now, you might be thinking, okay, this is just some strange anomaly in a weird underground rodent, but it's really not an isolated quirk. First of all, it links naked mole rats directly to insect biology. Just like honeybee queens use pheromones to stop their worker daughters from developing ovaries, nature is using a very similar, elegant chemical mechanism to drive complex societies in mammals. But here is the absolute most shocking detail from the research. Secreting isopropyl myristate isn't exclusive to these bizarre rodents. This exact same compound has been detected in the breast secretions of lactating human mothers. Yeah, you heard that right. While its function in us humans remains a total mystery, it leaves us with an incredibly profound question. Could this exact same chemical, the one that literally stops an underground secession war, be playing some secret evolutionary role in our own biology? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the incredible science hiding right under our feet.